Welcome to the MVP Show. Today we're chatting with one of the new Microsoft Business Application MVPs. He's known in the community as that API guy, and he also started the We Are PowerApps Challenge. Totally awesome guy, and his story is so unique. So join me as we have a chat with Vivek about his journey to becoming an MVP, how he's quite different than a lot of MVPs out there, and what I consider the future MVP, that they don't necessarily come from a consulting background or a Microsoft partner background, but they are the new breed of subject matter experts that pick up this amazing technology and start sharing what they're learning with the community. Full show notes can be found at nz365guy.com/145. Now let's get on with the show. Hey Vivek, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me, Mark.
Good to have you on here. How do you pronounce your last name?
Bavishi.
Bavishi, Vivek Bavishi. Okay, so that obviously is going to kick off a bit of, your origin story. Where do you originate from?
So I'm from India, as you might have probably guessed. I grew up in a city called Nagpur. It's like the geographical center of India. There's like a 0 mile over there. So, yep, I'm originally from the state of Gujarat, which is the same state where the Prime Minister of India is from.
Wow. Okay. So if I was to go there, what's the one thing you're going to recommend that I do?
Eat oranges. It's the orange city, and it's the best oranges ever you can have.
Wow. Okay. Good to know. Good to know. Any other kind of, what would be a standard dinner be like at home for you?
A standard dinner. It's it's none of those I would say paneer tikka masalas or anything, because that's the food that we have in restaurants. We generally cook like a normal wheat kind of bread, and along with that there's some curry along with it, which is not much spicy. It's simple, maybe lentils or some green vegetables, and that's it. That's a simple curry.
Sounds good. Sounds good. So I understand you live in the US. What took you to the United States?
Yep. So I did work in India for around 4 or 5 years, and then I was working in the kind of strategic marketing, pricing kind of an area, and I wanted to grow more there. So I decided to do a master's in marketing. So that's what brought me to US. There was this 1-year marketing program in Purdue, which was really, what I was looking for. And I thought, okay, let's go for that. And I also wanted some international experience. So that 1 year actually helped me understand the culture over here. And then, yeah, since that program, I've been working here for almost 3 years now. So yeah, it's yeah.
Okay. Just tell me a bit about that marketing program. Always keen to find out people that have gone and done a marketing course. What did they teach you? What did they teach you? And was your focus more on business to consumer marketing or business to business marketing?
That's a good question. Of course because it's a total marketing program, they'll have focus on all the areas. I did focus on B2B marketing because that's the industry that I wanted to go into. So you could pick and choose what courses you want. And we focused a lot on, I would say, marketing analytics as well. Did a bunch of different softwares for analytics. Learned a bit of R, learned a bit of web data analytics. So yeah, it's a complete mixture of everything. And the good part was we were actually taking courses with the second year MBAs who were specializing in marketing. So it was good that everyone was in the same class. And it was a really, I would say, enriching experience, just seeing people from different parts of the world. And it's kind of surprising to see the kind of questions that everyone has, because you never even think about something and somebody from some country raises a question. You're like, I wasn't even aware about such a thing.
Yeah. So was your course mixed, as in had a quite diverseness when it came to the countries represented?
Yeah, it was pretty diverse. There were people from Europe, there are people from China, there are people from Japan, India, then some people from South America, Panama Canal. There were some people. So yeah, it was a mix of everything.
That's so interesting. I think that, the more you can get different cultures and stuff in the room, you can get some, as you say, there are oftentimes people would say something and you didn't even realize that was a thing. And I think when you mix cultures like it, it's so good. Tell me about Regal, the company you work for.
So Regal, it we basically manufacture electric motors. That's our mainstream product. But then it's a very diversified portfolio. We have three business units. There's a commercial industrial system. There's power transmission solutions, which is like um, mechanical gears and bearings and all that stuff. And there's climate solutions, which is basically all the furnaces and stuff that blow the air. I would say that the motors inside it, that's something that we make. So it's always kind of behind the scenes that our product is. You never see it in front of you, but it's always kind of powering the world. And our vision is to create a better tomorrow. So it's all about making energy efficient products.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And I take it you're working in the marketing department within that company, is that right?
Yeah, so I started actually in a marketing development program. So it was like a 2 years program where I went through like four rotations of 6 months each in different areas within marketing with different business units. And then after that, I ended up in a role of, I'd say, product slash marketing manager. But then I'm actually, so it kind of transitions a bit. Today, I'm a customer experience manager. Um, I work as a liaison, I'd say, between the business and the IT to get stuff on the website, get product data on the website, see what features and enhancements do we need, the e-commerce stuff, all that. So it's a bunch of like I would say a bunch of things all together, and Power Platform is a part of it as well. That's more of an internal piece, but yeah, it's a combination of a bunch of digital transformation things.
Mm-mm. What I find very interesting about you, as compared to the other MVPs I interview, so many of them work for Microsoft partners, but you specifically work not for a Microsoft partner, correct? And you're not a consultant. You're actually a marketer. You're the go between IT. You're saying and the marketing and around those digital assets. And I find that intriguing because I feel that you're kind of like the new model of MVP that we're seeing coming out. And what I mean by that is in the past, we saw a lot of technologists that are MVPs. If you look at most of the MVPs across all Microsoft's program, they're generally technologists, right? They know one product of Microsoft and they're gurus on it. Where I feel like you fit the category of you're a subject matter expert in this area of marketing and digital marketing experience particularly, and you've picked up a Microsoft tool set, in this case PowerApps, and got really, really good at it. So good that Microsoft awarded you the MVP. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a different. I would say I'm a different category altogether because when I went to the MVP summit, I was like, I don't match any of the other personas over here. But I would say it's a new generation of people, I guess, who want to get things done. People always have this debate of the new generation of low code citizen developers and all that thing. I just say it's about people who want to get things done, and the Power Platform is helping us to do it in a much more easier way. We don't have to reach out to IT to get some pay a bunch load of money to some third party to get some kind of system. It's all in our hands, and it has empowered us to do it, and that's why we got hooked into this tool, and we have used it as much as we can. And the community is so great that I learned a lot I started on the community forums. It was the time I started in 2016, the end of 2016, when there was no Shane Young videos so to learn from. So the only source was community forum. And I kind of started posting questions there, learning from there, and it just kind of encouraged me to do more to help everyone. And that's how I think my journey started to start contributing rather than just taking in. And it was so, I mean, it was so, I would say, empowering that everybody is just helping each other in this community. And it just landed me to kind of keep contributing, making blogs, videos, and all that stuff. And yeah, it took me to the journey of contributing more. An MVP just came across, I guess.
Yeah. I love it. And I've noted it down as a quote from you. A new generation of people that just want to get things done. That is fantastic. It's, you're right. It's a move away from the buzzwords that we're seeing in the industry of low code, no code. And it's just, people that want to be more efficient in their jobs, get things done in an efficient way, and probably get rid of the boring mundane of their lives by using things like Flow and PowerApps and things like that. So good. So tell me, what were the nuts and bolts of becoming the MVP? Like, who nominated you? How did the MVP program get on your radar?
Yeah, so it started, I would say my mentor then was Brian Dang, and he's still my mentor. Yep. I mean, I've had some discussions with him. We were having some conversations on some power apps and flows that I was working on. And then one day he asked me that, do you want to become an MVP, or do you plan to kind of do something more to the community? I was like, I mean, I never thought about it, but now that you're talking about it, let's talk more. And I started doing a bit more, I would say, community stuff, but it was organic. It wasn't like a forced thing. It was just somebody encouraged me to do more. I wanted, but I was kind of pushing back myself. But then, I'll be honest, I was rejected the first time. And I guess that at that point, I didn't have enough, I would say, contributions, or it didn't make exact sense. So I kept working towards it. Again, it was more of, okay, let's do this, let's do that, let's help people. Let's do. So I was a part of PowerApps Champions as well, where I took some sessions for that. So it all happened kind of organically, and then one day, I think Audrey went again and submitted my MVP nomination, and then one day I hear that, okay, there's something happening, so keep your email inbox kind of open on this day. And it was 1st March 2019, and I received it. Yeah.
So what was the time frame? You said you didn't get through the first time, so they would have said, no cigar, you need to do a bit more contributions. What was the time frame between that and then becoming an MVP? Was it, a month? Was it 3 months? How long was it?
It was definitely more than 3 months. It was, I would say, I think my rejection was somewhere in the third or fourth quarter of 2018. Yeah, so maybe around 6 to 7 months.
Okay. Now, what changed for you in becoming an MVP?
There's I would say, though I thought that it shouldn't change things. It should just be organic, and it should just be an added, I would say, advantage that we get, like, to get more interaction with the product team. But then it does, I would say, I'll be honest, it does affect it. It helped me to get on the radar, to get to more conferences, I would say, to get the speaking chance, because, I mean, however we want to say, the MVP kind of a stamp helps you kind of, it's a certification itself. So it has definitely changed a bit. I'd say I'm able to get into conferences a bit easily, but the biggest advantage, which I never realized, was getting to kind of have conversations with the product team almost on a very regular basis. Like, I was kind of surprised and overwhelmed with everything happening in that community. And it was just like, okay, how much can you kind of absorb? It's up to you. you can go 100%. You can be a part of every conversation. But if you don't want to do that, you can just be a part of something which you're really interested in and which you want to be aware about, any new features and stuff coming up. So I think they really listen to the feedback that we have to give. There have been some things that has impacted that, and it always impacts. So I think that's the biggest power I think which an MVP has.
So good. So good. Tell us about how much of your day-to-day job in, as a customer experience manager or digital customer experience manager, how much of your day-to-day job involves the Power Platform, whether that's Power BI, Power Apps, or Flow?
Yeah. So as of now, I'd say my day-to-day job kind of includes around 30 to 40% of Power Platform. And it's mainly around Power Apps and Flow. Power BI, we don't have a pro license. We have the report server, but we are still using it to some extent. But Power Apps and Flow, we have been using it a lot for our sales team. So we do have a Dynamics CE in our company. So we do make some integrations with that and mainly around Canvas apps. So there's a bunch of solutions that we come up with, which makes the life easier for the field sales team to do some field audit, to find customers closer to the location where they are, and a bunch of other apps and flows that actually changed a lot of manual processes in, like, I would say 2 weeks manual processes into 5 minutes of a digital process. Yeah, so it involved a lot of people initially to kind of a lot of times people ask me like, what's your role as a Power Platform in your company? So I tell them I'm a consultant within my company. I work for different teams. I scope out every requirement that we have. I kind of follow. I try to read something about how consultants generally tackle their projects and stuff, and try to follow some project management around that. And yeah, it's kind of nice to kind of see what every department is doing in the company, and then trying to show them, okay, do you know that it's possible that you can do it digitally? And they're like just surprised, and yeah, it's just funny. Sometimes they don't realize the power of this Power Platform. It's all about education. Um, and just to let you know, today actually I have a user group meeting within our company. So that is one thing which I learned from some of the Power Apps champions, that they have created a community within their company. Yeah, so it's just amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. But how did you, at what point, did you grab the juice box that is Flow or Power Apps and you tasted it for the first time? Like, how did it get on your radar?
Yeah, that's a good one. So this was way back, I think in December 2016 sometime. I actually looked up when I created my first Power App. So we were preparing some kind of a big touchscreen experience for a trade show, and that was using some software called Intuiface. So it's basically to create this whole digital experience where customers can come in and touch products and stuff. On the screen, and then see what's behind it. And one of the sales account manager asked us, can we have something like this on our phone? Because we could for customers every day. This is just one trade show, but we want it on our phones all the time. I was like, maybe we can look into it. So we were doing some kind of things with a third party vendor who was developing some offline apps. But I actually was listening to a podcast actually. It was a Daily Tech News Show podcast, and they just they read out all the technology announcements, and they said Microsoft is coming up with Power Apps and Flow. And I was like, okay, let me see if it's available in my Office tenant. And I saw it was available. It was enabled. I could just go in and build an app. And then we actually we replicated the experience that we had on that big touchscreen into this Power App within a week's time. and deployed it in another week. And we did a webinar and everything. So it was a very quick, I would say, deployment of something that somebody asked 2 weeks back, and we were able to just show them, okay, yeah, it's possible. Go ahead and use this on your phone.
Wow, that is amazing. That is amazing. It's such a great story. You're known as that API guy. How did that name come about?
That's so Flow came. I don't remember now when Flow came up with this feature, but they made an announcement where you could send data back from Flow to PowerApps. So you can trigger something from a button to trigger a flow from PowerApps, and then do some processing in Flow and send data from Flow back to PowerApps. So I was like, hold on, this is a game changer. I can do a bunch of things with this. Because I didn't like using custom connectors that much. I don't know, for some reason I was like, I want to play around more with Flow rather than building more custom connectors. So I went ahead and I started looking at all the APIs, kind of public APIs available, something that I could just register an account with and do something with it. And that's how I started building videos and making videos. My first or the most popular video till date is returning data from Flow to PowerApps. And I used very strange APIs like movie recommendation, like random movie recommendation, some Halloween related movie APIs and stuff. So I built a bunch of fun related APIs, and because I just wanted to show the power of how you can actually do it using PowerApps and Flow. And it's just a big world for you then, because you can access any API.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. Now, just tell us quickly. I mean, we're already running out of time. You came up with this amazing brand called PowerApps. How did it come about? What's your thinking? It's gone. A lot of people are now behind it. You've got merchandise, T-shirts. You've got mugs available there. How did you come up with PowerApps, and what really saw that take off for you?
Yeah, so first of all, I'll correct you there. It's just not me, it was a bunch of other power addicts. It was actually a year back, somewhere around November last year, where somebody started a conversation on Twitter, and we were like, oh, why not we just get together and hang out and make a video out of it, like everybody from different parts of the world. That would be the only way to kind of experience the power of the community. And we started talking about like, okay, do we really just want to hang out? Is that what we should be about? So we started talking, it just became like an organization where we're talking about, oh, what's our vision and what are we actually trying to do over here? So we talked about, there were a bunch of people who did a lot of great things with PowerApps and Flow, and they were not visible. But we had some kind of visibility. A lot of people knew us, and we were like, okay, let's get together, a bunch of us who a lot of people know, and make this as a platform for others to show what they have and try to uplift them. So that's our kind of statement. We bring in people, we uplift others. We make it a platform which people can just use and kind of come and give a demo. And these people then, I mean, it kind of, I would say it makes them inspired as well. And they start doing much more. Like there have been a bunch of people who were not visible at all a year back, and now they are like all around the platform. And Power Addicts has just become a self-propagating community. It's not a website. It's not a community, I would say, in written anywhere, but it's just a hashtag, and it's just something which people use. We don't monitor, we don't manage it per se, but it's just everybody helping everyone in the community, and Power Addicts is just a name to it.
It's very cool. It's very cool. I'm very impressed. It's been great talking to you. Look at this, our time's already on the limit. So before I let you go, I always like to run a few quick fire questions with you. So yeah, ready for them?
Okay, yeah, let's go.
Just whatever comes to mind is what you can say, okay? So the first one here, what was the worst haircut you've ever had?
A very short one.
Yeah?
Yeah. I slept off and it was like in India, it's called a grass cut. And it was like just pointy, small hairs. And I was like,
Which celebrity do you shamelessly follow in the news?
Shah Rukh Khan.
Who's that?
It's a Indian actor, and he's as I would say he's as much known as Tom Cruise, I would say, and he's as popular as that all over the world.
Wow. Okay. Wow. I did not know. Would you rather be too hot or too cold?
Too hot.
What's something you believe earlier in your career but think about differently now?
Digital transformation.
Tell me why.
It's I think it has just kind of caught on me. I have always been about creating some digital transformation, be it as simple as making some web application, using something out of the website. I've used VB Script and ASP.NET, but I don't know nothing about it. It's just Stack Overflow. So it's all about just creating something. As I told you, it has tools that empower me to get things done.
What is something you're certain you'll never experience in your life and why?
Sadness. I always try to kind of bring some motivation, something to cheer me up. And I don't believe in being sad about something.
Interesting. If you could only keep 3 things from your home, what would you pick and why?
My wife.
Yeah.
That's a strange question. I just need my partner, and everything else should be fine.
Awesome. That is so good. That is so good. Vivek, it's been great to have you on the show. If people want to follow you, connect with you, that type of thing, digitally, how can they find you?
So my Twitter handle is that_API_guy, because somebody with that API guy took it over and doesn't tweet at all. And I do make videos. Just search for that API guy, and my blog URL is thatapiguy.tech.
Hey, thanks for listening. I'm your host, MVP Mark Smith, otherwise known as the NZ365 Guy. Full show notes can be found at nz365guy.com/145. If you want to learn about how to become an MVP, I have a video series on YouTube. So go up there to my YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/nz365guy. Take a look at the playlist about how to become an MVP. There's quite a few videos in there now. Each Monday I release a new one, so if you subscribe and hit the bell, you'll get notified as each new one that goes up there. And my aim with this is to make sure that you don't have any unanswered questions about how to become an MVP. Anyhow, see you next week.